Today I'm sharing with you my attempts to make some darker pigment sticks from my foraged pigments. The pigments I forage around here, the soils are quite colorful, but they are not very dark. And in order to get a darker stick, I have to add something extra. And in my case, it is carbon black. And I get the carbon black from a couple different sources. This is a charcoal that I found that came out of somebody's fire. This is a black carbon that I got from nutshells that I put into an Altoids tin and stuck on our camp stove. And yesterday I also experimented with a darker rock pigment that I've ground. So these three samples are soils that I have foraged. The soils around here, some of them come with quite a high clay content, and so when I make a pigment stick from them, I end up with an almost crayon-like mark that doesn't rub off very easily. Both of these are like that. And then some of the soils I find are very soft and don't have a lot of clay in them, and when I make a stick out of those, they're quite soft and they rub off. I have in the past experimented with binders, different binders like methyl cellulose for my sticks, but I don't do that now because I find that these samples with the high clay content, actually, if I add those into other pigments, it holds the stick together quite nicely, and I don't need any additional binders. So here are two of the sticks I made yesterday. This one is quite soft, but a good dark color, and I did that by adding all of these together. This stick, I have a black pigment from John Marshall, which says on the website it's soot, and I don't know if it's got anything. It does, that's what it looks like. So I'm just going to assume that's what it is. But I mixed that with a couple of these pigments and got a very nice black, or almost black, but it is also quite soft. So what I'm going to do next is take a little more of this, which is my clay, high clay content pigment, and mix it without the gray and see if I can get something that's a little harder. So when you make a pigment stick, you need the pigments you add need to be very, very finely powdered so that they draw nicely. And this black, this soot black is fine, but these two things that I have need to be ground finer, and also this rock pigment, though I ground it with a mortar and pestle, it's not fine enough. So what I ended up doing yesterday was starting out with the blacks and just some water and my muller, and actually mulling those into a really fine liquid first before I added them to the clay. But I won't have to do that with this black because it is fine enough to just melt into the water and make a good stick on its own. dry these sticks between two pieces of drywall. It helps keep them square, and it helps dry them slowly so they don't crack. These are the two from the last clip. Just wanted to show you the results. So these are the two pigment sticks I made at the beginning of this video. This one, these are my foraged pigments plus some carbon black that I foraged, and this one this is my foraged pigments plus the John Marshall soot black. They make nice soft pastels, but I was trying to go for something a little bit harder than that, so then I mixed the John Marshall black with just one of my harder clays, which improved it somewhat. This was the 1-to-1 ratio of the clay to John Marshall black, and this was the 2-to-1 ratio. And you can see it's a little thinner line, still smears. Then I took a pigment I have, a clay pigment I have, that is very hard. It is kind of a beige, and if I can find a clean finger, I'll show you it doesn't really smear. So I mixed it yesterday first with my foraged carbon blacks. You can see that's a much harder pastel. And then last night, or this morning, I mixed it up with the John Marshall black, because that seems to get a little bit blacker than my foraged carbon black. So tomorrow, because they take about 12 hours to dry or so, we'll see how that turned out. So it's tomorrow, and I am really pleased with how well this particular foraged clay pigment works with the carbon blacks that I've been mixing it with. So this is the John Marshall soot black that was drying in the last clip, and I'll just show you in comparison to the last one I made before. It was just a little brown. It's a harder stick than the others, but here's the one that I mixed just with the clay and the John Marshall soot black, and it's darker, still the same nice hardness. So I'm pretty pleased with these results. I got a variety of hardnesses and a variety of darknesses, so I'd say this was a pretty successful set of pigment sticks.